What is going on, my dudes? It was a rainy one this morning, hence the old slicker. But we've got an exciting, full, robust day in the studio ahead of us. Today's workload, next painting. Something that that's kind of starting to come together for me, or is starting to reveal itself, I guess, is a little bit about where I'm kind of going conceptually with this work. I usually start with some sort of inkling, and then the idea kind of matures with time as I start getting through the work, as I start iterating more, especially with this series, kind of feeling like it's my first real series, where I'm consciously digging deeper into the subject matter, iterating more, changing reference and adding to it, as opposed to maybe just reconstructing the image and paint, which when I did that had a sort of specific function, but now this is kind of more about a transformative thing and taking it beyond the original reference, intervening in some way, obviously with the cats. So it's starting to come to me a little bit more, as I've mentioned in a previous video. A lot of what I was thinking about with this is the idea of the series in itself as a kind of like as a format for working, as a market construct, and we're kind of looking at it through both a critical and humorous eye. And then the new kind of angle to it that's starting to come up is like, and I'm just trying, this is very surface level too, you know, but thinking about parallels between sport, art, and life. You know, there's something there to that for me, especially just thinking about everything that goes into the painting process, the amount of, well, we won't get into that, but thinking about that specifically has kind of started to pique my interest in this certain direction, and I'm thinking more consciously about these parallels between sport, art, and life. And I might try to coax some of those things out. I might try to expand on them a little bit more. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. But otherwise, you know, we're very much digging in here, and we're getting somewhere, both in terms of iterations, both in terms of workload, as well as conceptually. I think we're moving around. Today's image is a little bit different than the others. You know, not too much, but it's got a very dynamic angle, and which I actually think has been true with all of these. They're all pretty dynamic, especially considering how engaged they are athletically in the image, and so there's not really a lot of stagnation in any of these. But this one is especially true, I guess, just because of, you know, the angle, and you'll see it come up. But this is also going to be the first one where I'm introducing a little bit of the actual cat, and so we'll see how that goes. I'm excited to, you know, include it. I've got, you know, my reference composed, and I think it looks really great. I think it's going to be a good fit for this series. And if, depending on how I feel about this one, you know, we'll work on some more iterations where we're introducing the actual cat instead of just the shadow. That's it. Yeah. All right, man, let's get to work. Okay, just laying out the old colors, huh? Again, like we've been starting each time, just kind of working 4 or 5 values for the figure, and mixing the arms and the head kind of separately, just because they're, you know, they're in different proximities to the floor, and so that's going to change the, you know, the way that the light is kind of reflecting off of them and what's going on. So I make little, separate mixtures, but I always end up kind of cross, referencing or cross mixing a little bit. And then here, working on the face, the eyes, the shadow, the drop shadow of the nose, those are all just kind of mixed on the fly before, just in the moment, so I'm not making them before or anything like that. Just building layers, just building up from dark to light, and just working every feature, every limb, etc. Separately as I go. And that's again because the slight temperature changes, in the head and the feet, or the head, the arms, and the legs, would kind of be a different treatment. You'll see further along that the legs are actually completely thrown in shadow, so they're just basically blue. Completely blue, and more so as you get closer to the floor from the head is what I noticed with this painting. The closer the proximity to the sun, and the warmer it was, and then the closer to the ground, the cooler it was, and that makes perfect sense. I worked the arm to completion, and then the hand kind of separately. And now working the dress, and this is kind of where things started to get really fun, because we're moving closer to that just big shadow area. And also this little garment was a lot of fun to paint, just like a little Nike thing. And painting that logo for some reason is always super satisfying to me. Just painting the Nike logo, or Nike products in general is always exciting. That just the swoosh, rendering it in paint, is particularly enjoyable. I'm not sure why. But here we go. The figure is almost pretty much done. Everything else is kind of thrown in shadow, and so you're going to see here I am painting in the drop shadow itself, and then much of it takes up the legs as well. And I think I actually used the same color. I think I just paint right into each other, or painted them right into each other. We'll see. Yep, looks like it. Looks like that was all just kind of one color, and then I went back and made some little adjustments. And here I'm just kind of basically now with the shoes and everything in the shadow, I'm just kind of basically making like a monochromatic mixture of the color that I used for the black. So there now you can see the phthalo blue coming out of it, and it's just all very cool. Take a quick little break there. These are usually done, this is just one continuous session, so whether it takes me like 2 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours, it all just gets done, for the most part in a single standing session. Sometimes I will take a break, maybe about halfway, like around the time that I finish the figure. A lot of the times I'll take maybe a 20-minute break, sometimes 30, just depending on how I'm feeling. But what I do find is that most of the time I work pretty straight through, and that seems to me to like just get me in a really good flow state, and it just seems conducive to completing a project and just having a lot of fun, is just kind of working straight through. I kind of like the endurance component to that, and then just kind of seeing if I can gradually improve the amount of time that I can just spend on a single session on a painting. The blue here just like works so well. It's just such an active color. It's really beautiful. It's kind of also the way that the film itself is like uploaded to the screen, to the program, and the way it's affecting the color. But even in real life, it looks really beautiful. The saturation, I think, is just a little bit higher on screen, basically. But here we go, man. So for the top, the little legs of the cat, I ended up painting over those because I want to kind of come back in and render them with an airbrush. I think that would be a lot of fun. So I'm going to go ahead and paint over them, paint in my white really thick as I usually do, and then little details on the watch, bracelet, and then I'm going to paint right over those cat's legs. We're going to come back and hit them, I think, with an airbrush. But for now, let's cue the B-roll. Well, hell yeah, dudes. Another good day, another productive day, another successful upload, edit. I need to start going to sleep earlier, and I mean, I guess it all balances out anyway, because it's all like I'm awake the same amount of time, so whether or not I wake up later and then go to bed later. But, you know, for something it tells me that I kind of like working with the rhythm of the sun. So maybe I should start aiming to wake up with the sun closer to it and then go to sleep earlier. So we're going to try that. We're going to start trying that. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe the day after. I need like a day to freaking mentally prepare. But all right, dudes, good night.